Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy. Thanks so much for coming, and if you're not new here, thanks so much for coming back. Today I'm going to talk to you about IVF and what happens after. So I did a previous video talking about our IVF experience, just kind of how our cycle went, what it looked like for us in the treatment process to get pregnant with baby number 5. So if you want to see that video, you can check it out in my playlist. I have an infertility playlist, and also I will try to remember to link it in the description box. But you may be wondering, if you watch that video, or if you're just coming in, what do you do with the rest of the embryos? For us, we have 5 children. We did do IVF, and for various reasons, which are neither here nor there, we have 9 embryos frozen. So we transferred 1 from our cycle. It was successful. I am pregnant. That being said, I have 9 embryos. So Tim and I have been discussing, my husband and I, have been discussing what happens next. What do we do with these embryos? So there are options available once you have frozen embryos. You can keep them, obviously, and continue to transfer them until you feel like your family's complete. You can have them destroyed, not pay preservation fees and just destroy the embryos if you're not going to use them. You can donate them to science research for like stem cell research and things like that. Or you can donate them to another couple. So like people who are also going through IVF but are unable to use their own eggs or their partner's sperm, sometimes they will elect to go with donor embryos instead of just getting a donor egg or donor sperm, because then they can do like a sibling group, or they know, like, they can do like a sibling group. So basically they would have genetically related children, just not their genetics. So they'd still be adopting, but they would have siblings, if that makes sense. And there's a lot of different reasons people want to do that. Either just because they like the idea of their kids being genetic siblings. They like the idea of knowing that they all have the same family history in case something comes up. Just things of that nature. So those are kind of the options. We don't know where we're at. We have discussed this, and the thing is when I started out, when we got married, we wanted to have 2 or 3 or 4 kids. We didn't really know, 3 or 4, whatever. Tim is from a family of 4 boys. I am from a family of 2 girls. But that being said, my mom was one of 4 siblings. My dad was one of 8 siblings. Tim's dad was one of 12 siblings? 12 or 13? 12, I think. And his mom, I cannot even remember how many siblings she had. She was adopted and had a ton of other adopted siblings, but I'm not sure of the exact number right now. I can't remember. So outside of our small, like, personal little nuclear families, we have a huge family. And so it was like, well, I like the idea of a bigger family. And he was from what some would consider a large family with 4 kids. So we were thinking 3 or 4. After we found out we were pregnant with Lily, and I got past the initial panic and the freak out of having a 4th baby because I didn't think that I would be capable of doing it, we had her. And as she began to grow, I realized, you know what? I was scared. We said we weren't having any more kids because I was scared, but I think that I was scared because I was scared that people would think I had too many kids, if that makes sense. I was nervous. I was struggling with young children and learning the ropes and kind of learning to let go of what other people thought of my family, and learning to let go of expectations and how I should be raising them or how they should be acting or this, that, and the other thing. And so with that, I kind of let go of how many kids people think I should have. When Lily came, it was like, okay, well, I have 4 kids. You know what? I don't actually care if people think I should have 4 kids, because Lily's amazing, and I can't imagine if we had just stopped. So anyway, all of that to say, we then decided to have a 5th baby. We had never had any struggles before. We had secondary infertility, unexplained. And so we ended up going ahead and doing an IVF cycle, thinking we would be able to get a few viable embryos so that we would have the option of either trying more than once if it wasn't successful, or potentially having a sibling, another baby if we struggled to get pregnant after the IVF cycle, anything like, anyway. So fast forward, and we had 10 embryos that froze that were successful. We transferred one, it was successful, so now we have 9 embryos. So what are we gonna do? Well, of those options, destroying them is not an option for me. We worked really hard to create them, both with just the travel and the logistics and the money and the shots and the meds and all the suffering and all the emotions that went into it. But I mean, you know, additionally, like, we tried for 2.5 years to get pregnant. I feel like destroying them, like, I can't wrap my head around the concept, you know, of like, oh, well, okay, now I'm done with these. Because what if we're not? What if we want to have another baby? Maybe we do. I don't know. I am 30 weeks pregnant, so I'm not going to say, no, I'm done, I'm never having any babies. I've done that before, and I was wrong. I was wrong, and I had to eat my words. But I'm also not going to say, yes, we're keeping them. We have to, you know, like, we're going to have all these babies. Obviously, we're not going to transfer all 9 babies. It's not feasible. I am 37 years old, and it does take 9 months to grow a human, and then there's the recovery time after. So even if you give it a year and then get pregnant again, that would still put me, you know, I mean, I'm a little bit out from this. And so, like, what, 10 years out from now? I don't really want to be having babies when I'm 47. I mean, that's just where I'm at. So we will probably not be using them all. Now, there is a chance that we'll decide that we want to go ahead and transfer another one after this baby is out a little while and grown up a little bit. And maybe it won't take. So maybe we'll need to transfer more than one. You know, maybe we'll need to go through more than one cycle. So we may not end up with 9, but what do we do with them? So as I said, destroying them is not an option for us. I don't feel like I am comfortable necessarily with donating them to scientific research, just because there are so many people that want to have babies, that can have babies, and that would be thrilled at the chance to carry a child, but cannot use their own genetic material to make that child for whatever reason. Either them and their partner are genetically incompatible, or their egg quality is poor, or their husband's sperm quality is poor, whatever the reason may be, and they just want to have a baby. If I could give them that chance, I feel like that's amazing. So I just, you know, embryo adoption is likely the route that we will be taking for any remaining embryos that we have left over. We will likely donate them to a couple that is trying to get pregnant so that they can use the ones that are left to have more than one child, a set of siblings, whatever they want to do. And then if they want to continue to store them for potential future pregnancies, or if they want to donate them to another family, that is fine with me. A lot of people are kind of like on the fence about donating embryos. They're like, well, I mean, that's kind of like giving my baby up for adoption. But I don't really view it that way, because I can't use all of those embryos. And I don't think that blood is what makes family. I think that being loved and being part of a family makes family. So I'm not weird about having like, oh, well, those are my genetic babies. I haven't abandoned them. I didn't grow them. I didn't birth them. I didn't raise them. I didn't give them up for adoption. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't leave them without love. I feel like when you're going to a situation where somebody's trying so hard to have a baby, that baby's going to be loved. And so I'm fine with having my genetic material out there running around unbeknownst to me. I don't feel like my kids are going to be missing out on a sibling. I don't feel like, you know, there's part of them that they won't know, because that's not their family. Their family is right here. They've got 4 other siblings, potentially more, who knows. So I just like, those are, it's kind of like, some people feel weird about it. I don't feel weird about it. The other option that we have is to just store them indefinitely, and then I feel like we're wasting money, and they're just sitting there not able to do anything, just being frozen. So, I mean, that's not really something that we've considered. There is another option. It's called like compassionate transfer, where people will transfer the embryos, not necessarily at a time of month where it would take. They don't do a medicated cycle and all that and all the prep. They just have the doctors transfer the embryos into their uterus at a time when they're not necessarily likely to get pregnant, but that way it kind of has like a natural end to the life cycle, if that makes sense. I don't really see us doing that either, because again, I feel like in my situation where Tim and I don't have any issues with other people carrying and loving and raising children that genetically belong to us, because they don't belong to us when we're not their parents. You know what I mean? Like, that's silly. That would be like saying that if we choose to adopt in the future, that child is less ours because we got it from somebody else's DNA, and that's just silly. So neither one of us have any hangups. So I feel like at that point, doing a compassionate transfer is just like we're taking the opportunity away from somebody else to have healthy babies. We know that we have healthy babies. We make healthy embryos. We have a really good success rate when a pregnancy takes, that the baby grows and it's healthy and it's, you know, thriving. So it seems like it would kind of be wasteful to do that. So the short answer to this entire video of me rambling is that likely what our plan is this. We will keep the embryos for a year or two until this baby's a little bit older and we decide, do we want to have another baby? If the answer is yes, I may go in for labs and see where I'm at and see if I am able to get pregnant on my own, to avoid all the stress and stuff of the transfer and all the hormones and stuff that you have to take to prep your body for transfer. I may see if I can get the clinic to do a natural cycle where we just go with my normal cycle, and then I would have to do progesterone support for the last half of the first trimester, but I wouldn't have to do all of the other prep. So that could be an option. Or we may just go ahead and do another medicated transfer cycle and transfer. Who knows? Should we decide that we are done having babies, or if I am able to become pregnant because we've gotten my other stuff figured out naturally, then at that point I believe we would go ahead and donate the remaining embryos. So essentially it kind of looks like a 5-year plan. In 5 years, 4 or 5 years, if we decide either we're done having babies or I'm able to have another one on my own and then we're done having babies, or whatever the case may be, at the 5-year mark, whatever we kind of have left, whatever our embryo stash is at that point, we will be donating those embryos to either a facility that helps people affordably adopt embryos, or potentially to a private adoption to a couple that is looking for a sibling group of embryos to adopt. So yeah, that's kind of our plan. I hope that this was kind of informative for you, and maybe if you had any of these questions or the same dilemma or just didn't even know it was a thing, now you have more information that you can use to go out and make your decision. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe down below. I will be doing similar content in the future, as well as updates on this current pregnancy. Like I said, I'm 30 weeks now, baby's getting close, gonna be born soon, and then we'll update you on his progress once he's here. Yeah, it's just generalized family stuff. So again, subscribe below if you don't want to miss it, and we hope to see you back here real soon. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day.